Being the head hazer for the engineering freshman was my whole world. It meant respect, power, and upholding traditions that were intense. My best friend, Leo, and I ruled the campus. We were untouchable. Then the new batch arrived. And among them was Leo's little brother, Eli. I saw him during the first hazing session. He was trying so hard to look brave, but I could see the nervousness in his eyes. My own rules demanded I be harder on him, to prove I wasn't playing favorites. But every time I pushed, he pushed back. He was stubborn, brilliant, and had a fire in him that I couldn't ignore. Our real story started away from the chaos, in the quiet corners of the library. We kept bumping into each other. First, it was awkward. Then, it became the best part of my day. Away from the hazing field, he wasn't Leo's little brother anymore. He was just Eli. And I wasn't the head hazer. I was just Kai. It began with shared notes, then late-night texts about everything and nothing. Then, one rainy night, hiding under the archway of the main building, he kissed me, and I kissed him back. It was electric. It was terrifying. And then, it was incredibly awkward. The rain stopped almost immediately after, as if the universe had given us exactly 5 seconds of courage. We pulled apart, both of us breathing heavily, just staring at each other. His eyes were wide, like he'd surprised himself more than he'd surprised me. I should go, Eli stammered, not moving an inch. Yeah, I managed to say, my voice rough. Your dorm. It's going to get locked. Neither of us moved. The air was thick with everything we hadn't said. Finally, he blurted out, Was that a hazing thing? I actually laughed, a short, startled sound. What? No. God, no, Eli. That was the opposite of hazing. He nodded, a slow, relieved smile touching his lips. Okay, good. So, what was it, then? And there it was, the question. I was the senior. I was supposed to be the one in control. But in that moment, under the dripping archway, I had no control at all. It was a Kai thing, I said, the lamest answer in history. I ran a hand through my hair, frustrated with myself. I like you, Eli. I've liked you since you argued with me about the thermodynamics problem last week. His smile grew brighter. You mean when I was right and you were wrong? You were not right. I protested, but I was smiling too. This easy back and forth was what I craved. We can't tell Leo, I said, the smile fading, the reality of our situation crashing down. Not yet. He'd never understand. He'd think I was corrupting his little brother. Eli's face fell a little, but he nodded. I know. We'll figure it out. But for the record, he stepped a little closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. I'd really like to be corrupted. My heart slammed against my ribs. That was how it started. Not with a grand confession of will you be my boyfriend? But with a silent agreement, a secret pact sealed with a nervous smile. The next day, it was business as usual on the hazing field. I barked orders. He followed them. But now, when our eyes met, there was a secret spark, a hidden current that only we felt. It was agony and ecstasy all at once. Our first official date was 3 days later. I told Leo the first was pulling an all-nighter at the lab. Eli told his roommate he was going home for the weekend. We met at a tiny, hidden noodle shop 30 minutes from campus, a place where no one would ever find us. Over steaming bowls of ramen, we talked for real, not as head hazer and freshman, but as Kai and Eli. He told me about his dream to design sustainable engines. I confessed my fear of not living up to my family's expectations. We talked about everything except Leo. It was on that date that he confessed first. He put his chopsticks down and looked me straight in the eye, his expression serious. Kai, this isn't just a secret for me. I need you to know that. I'm not messing around. I really like you. The simplicity and honesty of it floored me. He was so brave. Eli, I started and then stopped. The words felt stuck. Saying it out loud made it real, and real was dangerous. I saw a flicker of doubt in his eyes, and I couldn't bear it. I reached across the small table and took his hand, lacing our fingers together. It was a risky move even there, but I had to. I really like you too, I said, my voice low but firm. So much that it scares me. That's why I'm being so careful. I don't want to mess this up. He squeezed my hand. Then we'll be careful together. And that's how he became my boyfriend. Not with a label, but with a promise made over ramen. Our hands clasped together under the table. We were a secret, but we were our secret. We built a world of stolen moments. Movie nights in my room when Leo was away, weekend bike rides along the river, and 1,000 texts that always ended with a heart. We were living in a perfect, fragile bubble. And we were so careful. We never imagined that the person who would pop it would be the one person we were trying to protect. The end of our secret didn't come with a bang, but with a quiet, devastating question. Leo found me in our dorm after I'd gotten back from a secret study session with Eli, or at least, that's what I'd told him it was. He wasn't yelling. He was just sitting on his bed, staring at the floor. "Kai," he said, his voice flat. "Is there something going on with you and my brother?" My blood ran cold. I tried to play it cool. "What? No, man. We just study sometimes. You know he's smart." Leo finally looked up, and the hurt in his eyes was a physical blow. "A friend of mine saw you at the park by the river last Saturday. He said you weren't just studying." He swallowed hard. "He said you were holding his hand, that you kissed his forehead." The image was so specific, so intimate, that all my denials died in my throat. The silence that followed was louder than any accusation. "How long?" Leo asked, his voice cracking. "How long have you been lying to me?" The word, lying, shattered the last of my defenses. "It's not like that, Leo. It's not a lie, it's real." I told him everything. About the library, the rain, the ramen shop, the bike rides. I told him how I felt about Eli, not as his little brother, but as someone brave and brilliant who saw the real me under the head Hazer armor. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I just told him the truth. When I finished, Leo stood up. He looked older. "You're my best friend, Kai. He's my family. And you both decided I was the last person who should know. That hurts more than anything." He walked out, and the silence he left behind was suffocating. The next few weeks were a special kind of hell. Leo moved out of our dorm temporarily. He acted as a shield for Eli, always there when our paths crossed, making sure we never had a moment alone. I respected his pain. I kept my distance, but it was agony. Seeing the confusion and hurt in Eli's eyes from across a room was a constant torture. I had broken the two most important relationships in my life with my cowardice. I threw myself into my final project, trying to numb the pain. But everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of them. Of Leo's laughter, of Eli's smile. The turning point came on the day of the university's annual engineering fair. Eli's project, a model for a more efficient solar-powered engine, was a finalist. It was a huge deal. Of course, I went. I had to. I stood at the back of the crowd, watching him present his work. He was nervous but glowing with passion. He was incredible, and so was Leo. He was right at the front, beaming with pride, taking a million pictures like a proud parent. In that moment, I saw it clearly. Leo's anger wasn't about Eli dating a guy, or even about me. It was about being shut out. It was about the fear that his best friend and his brother were building something without him, that his two worlds were colliding and he wasn't allowed to be a part of it. After Eli's presentation, while everyone was crowding around him, I saw Leo step away to get a drink. This was my chance. I walked up to him. "Leo." He tensed but didn't walk away. "I'm not here to ask for anything," I started. "I just need to say this. You were right. I was a coward. I was so scared of losing your friendship that I ended up jeopardizing it in the worst way possible. There is no excuse. But I need you to know that my feelings for Eli, they made me want to be a better person. A person who deserves a friend like you." Leo took a slow sip of his drink, not looking at me. I continued, my voice thick. "And you should know." He argued with me about telling you. He wanted to. I was the one who said to wait. The fault is mine. Don't let my mistake ruin your relationship with him. He looks up to you more than anyone. I turned to leave, my heart feeling like it was being ripped in two. He won. Leo's voice stopped me. I turned back. Eli, he said, finally meeting my eyes. He won first place. A small, sad smile touched my lips. Of course he did. Leo sighed. A long, weary sound. He's been miserable, Kai. And honestly, so have I. I miss my best friend. The hope that bloomed in my chest was terrifyingly fragile. I miss you too. I'm not saying it's okay, he said firmly. The trust, that's going to take time. But I saw you two together. Before I knew. I saw the way you looked at him when you thought no one was watching. He paused. You never looked at anyone like that. And he's happier and more himself than I've ever seen him. He looked towards the crowd where Eli was still celebrating. Go talk to him. He's waiting for you. I was stunned. Are you sure? Just don't be an idiot again, Leo said, a hint of his old smirk returning. And you're buying my dinners for a month. That was all the permission I needed. I found Eli as he was stepping away from the crowd, holding his first place certificate. When he saw me, he froze. Hi, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Hi, he replied, his eyes searching mine. I'm so sorry, Eli, for everything, for hiding you, for hurting your brother, for being a coward. Tears welled in his eyes. I missed you. Those 3 words broke me. I missed you more than I thought was possible. What happens now? He asked, his voice small. Now? I said, stepping closer. I'm done with secrets. I took his hand, right there in the middle of the busy hall. I didn't care who saw. If that's still what you want. He looked down at our joined hands, then back up at me, a real, radiant smile finally spreading across his face. It's all I've ever wanted. Later that night, the 3 of us went for dinner. It was awkward at first, filled with hesitant silences. But then Leo started telling an embarrassingly story from my freshman year, and Eli laughed so hard he snorted. And in that moment, listening to the 2 most important people in my world laughing together, I knew we were going to be okay. Our story didn't start in the light, but we fought our way there. It wasn't a perfect fairy tale. It was messy and painful, filled with mistakes and forgiveness. But as I sat between my best friend and my boyfriend, I knew that the harmony we found after the haze was stronger than any perfect beginning could ever have been.